G'day fellas, and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Once again, we get to experience May Day. He's back once again. Ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the west of the map in the color orange, playing as the Delhi Sultanate, considered by many to be the best one-trick pony there is on the ladder. And I gotta, look, I'll be honest, I think he is. I definitely do. Ladies and gentlemen, it's May. And on the east side of the map, definitely not a one-trick pony, but definitely one of the best on the ladder as well. In the color purple, playing as the Holy Roman Empire, representing Team Liquid, it's Demu. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dry Arabia. A pleasure to have your company. If this is your first time watching a May game, you are in for an absolute treat. This guy is a one-trick pony. That means he only plays one civilization. Now, that doesn't really work if you're playing in tournaments because of the way tournaments function, where you have to kind of ban civilizations and you get to play specific civilizations only once, whereas May only plays the Delhi Sultanate. And the good thing about the ladder is you can't ban civs off the ladder. And that's what makes May so special, because May is incredibly talented at the Delhi Sultanate. So, going to be going up against one of the world's best, Liquid Demu, over on this east side. I'm looking forward to it, and one of the big reasons why I'm looking forward to it is because you kind of got this interesting dynamic between these two civs. One of them is incredibly good in the late game, arguably the best Imperial Age civilization that there is. And then you've got May on the Delhi Sultanate, who is playing arguably the worst Imperial Age civilization that there is. But there's a catch to that. And that is that the style that May plays as the Delhi Sultanate is completely different to what everybody else plays. When it comes to civilizations, there's varying degrees of flexibility in how you can play them. If you're playing the English as an example, you can go for a Dark Age man-at-arms rush, you could play longbows out of the council hall, you could look to go into the Abbey of Kings and go for a second town center, you can go straight for a fast castle, you can go 3 TC White Tower, you got a lot of flexibility. But when it comes to the Delhi Sultanate previously, there was really only one way to play that, and that was the Tower of Victory into a fast castle. You want to try and take all of your sacred sites, and then try and kill your opponent in the Castle Age. And if it ever got to the Imperial Age, you would cry a very sad death, because unfortunately, things never went well for you. But that all changed with May, because May decided what I'm going to do instead is go for the Dome of the Faith. And that's exactly what we see him doing here. Now, before we go any further, if I do call May a girl, apologies, or a she, apologies. In my head, May, it's a girl's name. I guess after playing Overwatch a little bit too long, May has just gone into that, or been relegated into that place in my brain of a girl's name. So it might accidentally happen that I let that out. In which case, just know now, May is not a girl. May is a guy. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes down, because we do have the Arkan Chapel going to be coming out for Demu. And interestingly positioned, I mean, this is realistically about the best spot you could get it. You could try and go over here. Doesn't really make much sense. You hit the gold and maybe a little bit of the wood line. This is definitely the best bet, though. You hit the berries, definitely hit the wood line. You're going to get some good farms in here as well. It looks like he's got 4 tiles, which means he can double farm it across here. So I suspect we're probably going to see a little bit more focus on the feudal age here, especially because there's the Delhi Sultanate in play. And that's one of the things to remember, that playing as the Holy Roman Empire, your goal is to pick up the relics, but at the same time, you need to be aware of what your enemy is up to and thinking about whether you should try and stop them before they really get a start on things. And I suspect Demu will be doing that here. We see a lot of villagers on wood. He's moving them out. I don't think we're going to see them move over to stone. I don't think he's going to go into a second TC, just mainly because of how strong he is in the Imperial Age, and you don't really need to go for that second TC unless you're not planning to go in, right? And that does often happen, where we do see players go for that second town center. The Order of the Dragon and the Holy Roman Empire definitely could both do it. But it looks like the focus today is probably just going to be on getting some production out. Maybe a barracks to start us off with, or maybe a stable. But I would suspect it's probably going to be a barracks just to open things up with, maybe men-at-arms spear combo just to start off. But we'll have to wait and see how it is, or how he plays it. We do see wheelbarrow comes out early for him, and it is going to be a barracks. So no real surprises here from me just yet. Mainly because he would know that going up against May on the Delhi Sultanate, it is going to be a stable, and we do see that stable coming up. He's scouting that out, doing a wonderful job of making sure that he sees exactly what the threat is that the enemy is throwing down. We see now coming out from May Sanctity. This is the technology that's going to allow him to convert those sacred sites over and get them across nice and early. You'll be looking out for his scholars and the scholar timing. So moves one of the scholars across into the stable, going to reduce the training time of those Ghazi Raiders, and we'll start to move them out onto the map. So naturally, you can assume on the side of Demu that it's probably going to be some spearmen that are coming out for him. And I'd be surprised to see May go into archers, but we've seen him do it before, especially now that he spots the double racks. To me, when I see this kind of double racks here, this is a very clear indication. Okay, you're trying to stop me from taking sacred sites, and May knowing that, I would suspect we're probably going to have an archery range down any second. There's still 8 vills here on wood. Let's have a look and see. Where is it? It's a blacksmith. Interesting. Goes for the blacksmith instead. So still likes his chances here, despite the fact that the enemy is going in a double racks direction. He could just look to try and go for a single sacred site instead. Oh, look at this. Have we got animation? Oh, he's animation cancelling. Oh! Oh, May, you cheeky devil. Oh, my lord. Did you guys see that? He was animation cancelling on the sheep with the scout. So this is still in the game. And it never actually... I mean, they fixed it, and then I think it kind of came back into the game. But that is so damn cheeky. And the reality is, right, like, it's just... It's a fact that it's still in the game. Pros do it at the top level. I think there's actually rules in tournaments that you're not allowed to do it. But hey, guess what? We're on the ladder here. And you know what? You know, we were just talking about it. You know, when you're on the ladder, you can't ban the enemy civ. They can pick whatever they want. And I guess you're subject to situations like that. Look at all of these poor sheep just strewn across the ground. Spear number starting to rise, though. Interestingly, Demu only on 3 spears. So why would you go for a double racks here? This is what I'm trying to understand, right? Like, why do you go double racks if you're only making 3 spears? Now, I can see he's gone for a pretty big transition onto farms already. This is definitely a smart choice. But the thing is, the tempo from the Ghazi Raiders is going to be quite significant, and he can overwhelm and overrun here. And maybe that's what he knows. Now, we can see that May is looking to pick up upgrades here. Bloomery's on the way through. He's going to catch a Ghazi Raider. Has him for dinner, says thank you very much. So, unfortunate timing on that charge. Man-at-Arms now going to be coming out. Now, Demu, I think, going to be... Wow, okay. So, all 3 sacred sites taken at the same time. So, I was definitely wrong about the decision from Demu to go into this double racks. When I saw this double racks, this to me was saying, hey, I'm not going to let you cap these sacred sites. But it seems like what Demu's gone ahead and done is said, well, hey, I'm just going to use these to defend back at home. And did he think that maybe he couldn't have done that off 1 racks and he needed to go into the 2nd racks just to defend against the Ghazi Raiders? Perhaps. Perhaps that was what his thinking was, but you can see him now coming out, looking to try and stop this sacred site in the south from being captured. In the north, it gets taken. In the west, he gets taken, and you could see that scholar was running away on very low health after being chased away by a couple of wolves. And now the sacred site in the north will be contested. But keep in mind, May has already managed to get away with exactly what he wants. He's getting that gold coming through, trickling through to him just by capping the sacred site. I think it guarantees him quite a bit of gold, maybe around 75 gold or something like that. Just with the way that the ticks work. So that's going to be powering up that Castle Age. And we can see May now going to be clicking up to Castle Age. And if he can deny relics off the Holy Roman Empire, this could be disastrous for Demu. Ghazi Raider numbers still looking really, really good towards the north side. South side now going to start being contested as well. We do see the wolves are still down here. No real units on this south side of the map. But the sacred site in the north will be held. Center has been destroyed or has been neutralized for the moment. And we'll get that one down at the bottom. So, look, 2 out of 3 ain't bad for Demu. But you do really... for me, I at least feel like you have to be proactive with these sacred sites. I don't think you can be reactive. And that's definitely reflected in the fact that right now, May is aging up. If Demu had been out on these sacred sites in the beginning, you know, with 2 spears on the south side and a spear up in the north, just to try and delay that sacred site from coming in, it means that this age up isn't coming through as quickly. And we can see now, moving out with these scholars onto the map, May's going to be looking to pick up relics. And I suspect this one was actually going to be trying to snipe away this safe relic of Demu. We see more and more scholars out across the map. I suspect this is another one down here. Indeed, it is. So we're going to keep an eye out on these relics because obviously we know that May is 100% going to be looking to try and pick up as many as he can. Now in the middle of the map, not a lot of units here for May. Age up comes through. It's going to be the House of Learning. No real surprises there. This is what we see as standard from May. When it comes to one-trick ponying, May is 100% just the classic one-trick pony in the sense that it's one civ, one strategy, always the same landmark. So I'm telling you right now, if you ever wanted to study a player as a one-trick pony, May is 100% the guy to study because this guy, there's a lot of games out there where they all look very similar in the openings. and always similar timings where he's up before the 10-minute mark, and once again, he's up. But quite a bit of pressure coming out here. So I think the big question now for me is going to be about how many relics is Demu actually going to be able to get this game? Because a huge part of the Holy Roman Empire, whether you play them in the Feudal Age, whether you play them in the Castle Age, it's about relics. It's about gaining control of those relics and making sure that you've got the lion's share, right? The old saying goes, 2 is okay, 3 is good, 4 is great, and 5, you got to start wondering what's going on because your enemy obviously isn't playing the game or at least contesting your relics as much as they should be. But now the elephants are out. Quite a lot of elephants here, and we can see Demu going to be putting a lot of that food into units, but he's also got quite a bit stacked up there on the backside. We'll switch over to income per minute, get a bit of an idea on how those farms are kicking, and they are indeed kicking. Have a look at this, Demu. Definitely not leaving any wheat unharvested. There is just so many farms here. He's also got the berry patch that's been eaten up. You know, this is one of the things that I love about the Holy Roman Empire, the fact that you're not necessarily incentivized to do this, but you're not really losing a lot by doing it, right? Like, it's kind of like the whole English concept where your farms are cheap. While you do pay the same, or while you do pay the full price for your farms, you've got to remember that your net return on your villages is a lot higher because they've got the Ark and Chapel, and of course you've also got faster gathering on the wood side as well. So it works out on two different aspects. Wololo is not successful here, but does manage to spot out this attempt on the relics. Towards the top side, we're also going to start seeing the Scholar moving towards it. These are low damage units, so he could look to do a similar Wololo strategy up towards that northern corner. Brings those relics back, though, and that's going to be 2 in the middle. We've also got a couple more that are going down. It looks like these 2 units will be converted over. Indeed, they are. Manages to take them both. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, we do have that elephant that continues to stay alive, though I suspect it's probably going to be going down. It's surrounded by spears. Underneath the town center, we can see that Demu is going to be fighting up against these Ghazi Raiders. Regnitz Cathedral is going up, but keep in mind that relic count is starting to look a little bit sad, because not only has a second relic now been taken and held, a third relic has been brought back, and a 4th relic will inevitably be fought here. So Demu really needs to get out here with his prelate right now. We can see that he's still got that prelate inside the Ark and Chapel at this stage of the game. Ideally, you'd want this bad boy out here looking to contest these central relics ASAP, because the more of these that you lose, the more and more you're going to be getting behind. It's not just that your opponent is getting ahead, it's that you're falling behind where you should be, because you got to remember, these Holy Roman Empire enjoyers, they're used to playing the game with 3 relics. They're used to playing with the lion's share of relics. And May now holding a 3rd relic, bringing it back in towards the safety of his mosques. You can see there's got multiple set up back there. Of course, the Dome of the Faith, and now looking to try and pick up this relic. It looks almost unlikely that it's going to happen, but have a look at how many Gulams, how many men-at-arms we've got here. I don't know where Gulams came from. I think it's the sword that they've got. What have they got? The Killage kind of makes them look a little bit more like Gulams. But now we do start to see more units trickling out. Still no sign of a prelate yet, though, which is a little bit concerning. Demu may have just given up completely on the idea of taking these relics from the center. Of course, he's got this one towards the top side where the Ghazi Raiders have just gone down. But hey, 1 relic, you know, as I was talking about earlier with that scale on the relics, we start at 2, where we say 2 is okay, 3 is good, 4 is great, and 5, you've got to start questioning what your enemy's doing. Well, if you're only making it away with 1 relic, that's where you've really maybe got to head back to the drawing board and ask yourself, okay, did we approach this the correct way? Was there something that we could have done better to try and secure more relics? And I think for Demu, the answer's probably getting... it's hard to say, right? I think maybe a little bit too many farms and not enough priority on getting up to the Castle Age quickly enough. I think he's still in a decent spot here, as long as he can get up to Imperial Age at a good timing, right? So for me, a good timing would be like within the next 2 to 3 minutes. If he can do that, then he can leverage the Palace of Swabia. But the trouble that you're going to have is that May is probably going to follow him up. This is something that we've seen May do. And keep in mind, this is the best Imperial Age civilization against the worst Imperial Age civilization. It's just that it's different with May, because May gets all the upgrades, May gets a lot of scholars, and right now we can see that May has got 7 scholars, so that's going to be funneling all of that research time in even further. But now, in the middle of the map, men-at-arms fighting up, a couple of crossbows on the backside for Demu now, going to be looking a little bit better. Nice kiting coming through, crossbows also coming through for May. towards that bottom side. The men-at-arms going to be fighting off against each other. It's a classic battle. Men-at-arms fighting v men-at-arms. Now, interestingly, we have the extra damage on the side of May, but we've also got the extra damage on the men-at-arms, remember. Just remember, once it does come through at the racks, don't worry, we'll get there eventually. There we go, the two-handed weapons together with the heavy maces. Then everything should be a little bit fairer, a little bit squarer. Crossbow's going to be caught out of position, but in the end, May is going to hold 4 relics to Demu's 1 relic. So it definitely feels like, you know, May's got a bit more experience in playing this matchup, and that's one of the things that happens when you're a one-trick pony. You got to remember, right, if there's 10 civilizations and you play all 10 civilizations, then there is 100 different matchups that you could play. I think that's correct. That should be correct. Somewhere in that region. Whereas if there's 10 civilizations and you play only 1 civilization, that's only 10 matchups that you have to master. So for May, if you've played, you know, 1,000 games and you've only played it as 1 civilization, there's a good chance there that you've played, you know, 10% of your games against this same civ. You know what to do. You know how to win. Whereas Demu, being the master of everything, which is, if I remember correctly, I think that's what he's doing here. He's playing random civilization. So he doesn't even know the civ he's going to get against May. But obviously, it requires a much broader knowledge base to have that sort of control here. But it means that May, being a lot more specialized, is able to excel in these types of games. All right, well, at this stage of the game, May's managed to get a couple of kills on the enemy economy. The biggest kill, though, has got to be to those relics. And let's check in with that count at the top of the screen. So we can see, I don't know what's happened here with regard to May's food collection, but it's not as high as it should be. Maybe, yeah, we've got the farm transition coming in, so it's going to be a little bit awkward to read now, but we'll go ahead and do it anyway. So 400 on top of the 1,200, so call it 1,600 and then 700 coming in as well. So 2,300 for May, and then on the side of Demu, it's looking about the same, 2,300 there as well. So pretty even Stevens at this stage of the game, but I do suspect once May has actually made that transition over to farms that is happening right now, and keep in mind all these vills are idle technically for the moment, so they're not going to be counting towards that, but once they are, it's going to look a lot different. And that's largely because of Sacred Site gold that's being generated, and that's also largely because of relics that have been sniped away from the Holy Roman Empire. And normally in this situation, you would see a lot of relic gold being generated for the Holy Roman Empire, and it's just not the case here. And it makes it so much harder because of that for Demu to now transition into the Imperial Age. We were talking earlier about the fact that if Demu can get up in the next 2 to 3 minutes, and that was about, what, 4 minutes ago, then he'll have a really good timing. But then the trouble that you've got is that you may actually just die to the timing push that comes through from the Delhi Sultanate. But that's the thing with the way that May plays. Like, even if you try and push in with this, I don't really think this is a big threat. You're going to need siege, and to get siege, it's going to take time. And by the time you get up to the Imperial Age, and you know you've got an outpost here, and an outpost here, and an outpost here that have all got cannon emplacements on them that have all been fortified, it's not going to be a huge threat, this kind of army. So I think that it's one of those things where it's like you got to know the game, but you also got to know the player as well. But now, look at these walls starting to come up for May across the entirety of the map, looking to try and secure out everything. I think at this point, May obviously is aware that one of the ways Demu could get back into this game is through a big raid. And so by walling off at these little choke points across the map, it prevents those raids from happening. Or at least if they do happen, they're going to be quite a bit delayed, and it gives you time to react to them. But now, more units continue to siege down the front of the base. Emergency repairs still back in the back pocket. Still in the back pocket here. Apologies. It's getting late for me. It's actually 12 o'clock on the dot right now. Speaking of 12 o'clock on the dot right now, have we got any news to report? Not really. No real world affairs happening at the moment. I did see the newest picture of Luigi. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Google Luigi right now, and it is probably the hardest picture of 2024. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very late contender, but you know, technically it does get through, and it's literally Luigi with his orange suit on, and there's like 40 police around him. It looks so badass, dude. Oh man. Anyway, a little bit caught out of position here. Horsemen coming up the back. There's a lot of crossbows here, so this is a great call by Demu to switch it over into horsemen right now. Crossbows continuing to come up, getting those snipes off, and may have been caught a little bit out of position now, trying to get back behind these walls that actually aren't created yet. Scholar's going to get run out as well. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, ladies and gentlemen, as Demu looks to try and put on the hurt in this game. A couple spears going to be brought out, but it definitely feels like the horseman number is not high enough just yet to fully commit here. And Demu, of course, going to be realizing that, continues to fall back. Beautiful kiting that comes in. Look at the way he's utilizing the full army here, but all three sacred sites now going to be held. Upgrades starting to come through for May. You can see all of those eco upgrades are now in. Almost every single military upgrade is through as well. And those crossbows are so... There's so many crossbows, they're one-shotting the horsemen. They're one-shotting the horsemen sideways, admin. That's a lot of damage. But crossbows on both sides. And yeah, we're really starting to see the crossbow wars developing. More walls coming towards the top side. Definitely more walls coming to a city near you shortly. There's a lot of walls going up right now. Hey, I guess with the election of Trump, there's probably going to be more walls as well. That is for sure. But Sacred Site in the north of the map now. Contested. Sacred Victory still approaching. We could see an Imperial Age here. I think an Imperial Age is reasonable for May. Because there was a point here where May looked like he was under pressure. And then he repelled that. So I think the best thing for May to do right now is just go back to base, get the walls up, chill behind the walls, go Imperial, get elite upgrades, and then just fight with elite upgrades here. And the thing that you've got to remember, we were talking about earlier about how the Delhi Sultanate is not the best civilization in the Imperial Age, arguably the worst civilization, but that is with the old mindset. That is with that old mindset of, I'm going to go Tower of Victory, I'm going to go for, I always forget the name of the stone landmark. We've got the House of Learning, and we've got... It's not going to come to me. This is the this is the long COVID that's hitting me right now. You know what? Hold on. If I grab a villager, I can't even do it here. The stone, the tower. No. Oh, that's going to trigger. And I know you guys are going to comment. Don't worry. I'll read the comments. Look, I'll probably remember the moment the game finishes, or maybe even like in 5 minutes I'll remember it. But we can see now. Looking to try and contest this sacred site on or in the center of the map here. Demu pushes forward, and keep in mind, he is not at all thinking about going Imperial here. And this is one of the struggles, right? Now, he has to do this because of the lack of gold. He feels like he needs to stay in the Castle Age, even though he knows how powerful the Imperial Age is. He wants to be in the Imperial Age, but he can't afford to do it because he doesn't have the spare gold to get himself up there. And that's one of the things about having those extra relics. Whereas May, you can see plenty of, well, not plenty of resources in the bank, plenty of units in queue now, all of a sudden. Still, once again, I think another good window is right here for Imperial. Let's see what the players, as back towards the base. Dude, I'm actually like trying to think of the landmark and I can't remember it. Anyway, the point was that's coming from the old mindset where you don't really focus much on scholars. Like you have 2 scholars, you gather 130 gold in the early game, you build a second scholar, and that's it. You never make scholars again. Whereas here, you can actually rely on getting lots of scholars and rely on going Imperial Age and rely on getting upgrades. But have a look at this. May not going to be relying at all on that idea. Instead, going to be focusing with the hugest army. This is a massive army that is beginning to build. 109 military pop, a whole bunch of reinforcements coming out the rear. Keep in mind, of this, there's also 18 scholars that are on the field right now. Now, I don't know whether all of them are locked away. Definitely feels like some of them are going to be out here, but able to bully Demu back once again. Demu going to have to fall back looking for a couple of upgrades, but he can start feeling himself being walled in around the edges of the map, being shut down slowly and steadily across all corners. As the sacred sites get taken, and May looks to take a big fight in the center up against Demu here. Demu with a huge mass of crossbows should be able to cut through a lot of this thick armor on these elephants. The crossbows, of course, while they're range damage, they do have a lot of damage in that back pocket, 14 damage in total. And he continues to kite backwards, starting to add in a couple of archers now as well. Veterancy obviously through on these. And now Demu down to 110 population, 112. You can see there's no hope for him to get to Imperial Age here. It's not even going to happen. And the trouble is, once you get to Imperial Age, you've got defense. But now your opponent's got elephants. And when it comes to, dealing with outposts, elephants excel. Especially for a guy like May, who is going up with the Palace of the Sultan now, 24 minutes. He's picked his timing quite well here. And I think this is one of the things that you can appreciate about it, is that he hasn't looked to go risky at all. You know, the earlier suggestions I made where I was like, okay, well, he's kind of like defended here and he can go back behind the walls and go Imperial. That's a bit risky. Whereas here, he knows he's in control. He knows it's the safe play. He knows it's like, it's not a coin flip at this stage. This is like a 90% victory chance for him if he goes Imperial here. The trouble is, okay, and we can see Demu's doing exactly what he should be doing. So putting outposts up, I suspect we'll probably see a second one here, a third one. Well, you don't really have a spot for it down here, but somewhere in this region, you normally want to try and create like this triangle around, and that's where you want to try and fight into. So I would expect that we would see the fortification come through soon, and then he'll look to get the cannon emplacement on the outpost. Especially now that his opponent has reached Imperial Age, he knows how important it is for him to get Imperial Age and to be able to fight elite units up against elite units. But upgrades are now starting to come through. We can see a huge amount of upgrades on the way in for May. Have a look at this. We've gone 4 rows deep on our upgrades. Absolutely beautiful. 5 rows deep now on these upgrades. Oh, you know what I can talk about just a little bit? I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077. Just because, I'm not even kidding you, right? I was playing it, I was like, you know what? This is kind of like a little bit of research here. Like, the way the world is moving, it's so dystopian. I was like, I wonder if there's any, like, interesting ideas in here for business. And it's kind of funny, man, playing that game. Because I don't know about you guys, but, like, originally when I bought Cyberpunk, it's like most games on Steam. You buy it, you play it for, like, an hour or something like that. You get through the early parts and then you just kind of leave it. And I never actually played it, and man, I actually found it quite interesting because I did like one mission on it and then I got hooked. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do this one next mission, and then I kind of got linked into the next one and then the next one, and now I'm like getting through the storyline and I'm actually really enjoying it. And it's like, this is so hard because it's like really dystopian on one hand, and on the other hand it's like, man, all I want to do is be like a capitalist, man, just let me at him. Anyway, Palace of Swabia is finally going up towards the top side as well. Interesting decision to put it so far forward here. This is a really exposed position. I guess he's doing it because of the stone, though. He wants to try and secure that up. And realistically, as long as you put like an outpost... Oh, where do you even put the outpost? I think you've got to put it like right here. You need to have cannon emplacements. And oh, he went springwood emplacement. Interesting. Is single relic springwood emplacement. I feel like the biggest power spike you get on the defense, I mean, I guess realistically at this stage of the game, it's not a huge power spike to actually be going cannon emplacement, so you don't even really need it. I guess that's probably the best way to think about it, right? Like, you don't actually need that cannon emplacement anywhere near as much as you do in the early game, right? If you're hitting 12-minute Imperial timings, you need the cannons because you don't have anything else going for you. Whereas here, you got plenty going for you. You got double mango, you got a whole bunch of, you got 79 Vils in the bank. You're doing absolutely fine. But now you can see Swabia is starting to get some work done. I don't know what's so special about this villager, but apparently it's unique. A little bit of Order of the Dragon seeping through. And now, May at 200 max population. Compared to Demu at 156. Look at these upgrades, though. Let's check in with the elite upgrades. That's going to be the key ones. So elite Ghazi Raiders have got 30 seconds left on them. I don't even think... Has Demu even started his elite upgrades yet? I don't even think he started the elite upgrades yet, and you could see just how much this wall is really affecting him, because when it comes to gold, like, he's been completely walled out. You've got May that has just walled out Demu completely, and now look at this, running archers, using the forced march ability to get right up on top of this economy. I'm just going to throw them away. They're already elite archers, by the way. I didn't even realize you've already got elite archers out here now for May. Horsemen coming through to save the day. Stonewall towards the top side. Definitely the smartest move you could do. You want to try and seal this up as much as you can. And it's pretty locked off from this top side. I guess you'd probably want to see another Stonewall kind of come across the front here. But it is a bit awkward around this area. And the reality is if you put a Stonewall here, it's just going to get hit by, you know, like a cannon or something over on that side, or a culverin. But now, towards the south, a huge army is making its way towards these farms. Demu's army looks to defend. Mangonels yet to be upgraded. He's looking to pick up boiling oil. Still no elite upgrades just yet for Demu. Meanwhile, on the side of May, a huge amount of units, and they've all been upgraded to elite. And now Demu faces off against the one-trick pony with the mango shots at the back. Beautifully timed, but the men-at-arms able to run up on top, utilizing that forced march. Another shot comes off. But I tell you what, that triple on top of the backline was definitely nice to see. Demu continuing to hold it down, but you can see, look at the, oh my god, look at the ranged armor. 7 plus 7 is 14. These crossbows are doing 14 damage. They don't take any damage. They don't take any damage. It's impossible to kill them. They're taking 1 damage every crossbow. The whole idea of building crossbows against these tower elephants is that you're able to do more damage than the they've got armor. But he can't actually kill them with the crossbows. Oh, it's terrible. It's a terrible outcome here for Demu as May engulfs his base with units. Elephants run rampage through. Horseman numbers are trying to climb inside, but he is just getting them taken out so quickly. No elite upgrades through just yet for Demu. No, take it back. He's got elite crossbows that have just come through. He's now up to 17 damage, which means he's able to cut through that Tower Elephant armor, but he's only doing 3 damage a pop. Elephant not going to even stand a chance, that Culverin, unfortunately. The Elephant's able to take it out. And Demu, at 30 minutes into this game, the Vil count, you can see, not only does he have less Vils than his opponent, but he's got a huge amount that are idle and moving around here. The keep was great up towards the north. Unfortunately, that's where he wasn't attacked. He was attacked towards the south, and it just meant he had no defense down there. And you can see now he's looking to put the keep up. He's still got the Swabia, so he can stay in this game with the Swabia. The question's going to be about how quick May is to continue applying pressure. Cannon, or Culverin rather, on the backside. We can see it here working its magic. But Demu going to get caught out of position quickly. Culverin trying its best to escape. You can see it does that extra damage now against Tower Elephants, but more units on the front. Battering rams getting built here. He's got 4 on the way. Keep comes online. Does fire down upon these units. Meanwhile, towards the back, the Elephants are kiting away all of these troops, and you can see the range that they've got on them as well. They got 5 tiles of range, so easily able to kite away from these melee units. And now towards the front, 113 military pop against 13. Look at that bar. Look at that bar. That is one of the most one-sided bars you'll ever see in a high-level game like this. Keep in mind, both of these guys, Conqueror 3, plus. There's a lot of pluses. Each one of those pluses represents 100 ELO over Conqueror 3 threshold, which is 1600 that they have gone. These guys are like 2300 and 2200 ELO respectively. It is insane how high these guys are right now. And now, the last of the upgrades are coming through, and good game gets called. Demu tapping out with May successful with the Elephant Charge. Ladies and gentlemen, go and check him out. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can catch Demu. Of course, he'll be streaming over on his Twitch, so go say good day from me. And of course, we'll catch you in the next one. What a performance there by May, the one-trick pony, taking another one down.